I've met my best friends through Misfit, and whenever I see a shirt at a local comp, I can go up to them and just start talking. It's like we're best friends from kindergarten or something like that.
It's so great to have that icebreaker with the shirts. Because that was like one of our like first things. Like we need shirts. We need to be cool and have shirts that say our name on them. And like it's the ultimate icebreaker. Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning in to another episode of the Misfit Podcast. Full goon squad in the house. And I'm very excited to say it in this way. CrossFit Games athlete Hannah Hardy also in the house.
Oh, hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Oh, it's nice to be here.
I want to go full origin story. So take me from right off the bat, we're jumping right into it. Take me from like when you started in any sort of athletic physical pursuit until you started working with Misfit.
Okay. So my background is in swimming. So I started when I was 3 and did year round from that age to about 6th grade. So 11 or 12. From there, my mom did not want to go to a 5 a.m. swim practice. So she's like,
that's why I couldn't play hockey. I understand.
Yeah. So she was like, have fun playing school sports. So just pretty much play volleyball, basketball, tennis, softball, like everything under the sun.
Yep.
And then just swam in the summer. Then from there, I just went to college. I found CrossFit right before my junior year of high school.
What year was that?
2013.
Yeah, me too. That's when I was in.
Yeah, you were definitely in high school still then.
Yeah.
We're the same age.
You just pissed off a lot of listeners.
But I didn't really jump in until the beginning of 2015. So I wanted to actually go to college for a sport. I thought I was going to go to the Naval Academy, and there you actually have to play a sport. So I was like, oh man, that's a way to get a D1 like scholarship right there, is to serve in the Navy, right? And that didn't work out, but instead I just dove straight into CrossFit my last semester of my senior year in high school. And then from there, went to college, started coaching at the gym, started like taking CrossFit more seriously, both from a coaching perspective and an athlete perspective. And I guess here I am now.
When did you start following Misfit Athletics, and how did you like find us?
So the manager at my gym in college, he followed Misfit, and I did the thing. I was like a year in the CrossFit at that point. I'm like, okay, kind of like what Xander said. Let's just do the entire
Xander was sitting here with us a couple days ago, and similar story.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I can totally do like 4, 5 pieces. You know, because like, why not just go from 2 pieces a day to 5, right?
Logical next step.
What were you doing before following?
I pretty much jumped all over from, other brands like Invictus, Comp Train, stuff like that. I don't know. I was
but you were following like a competitor.
You weren't following like .com or anything like that.
No.
Or like doing an affiliate class. Was the gym at your college an affiliate? Like they were doing classes and stuff?
Yeah. Cool. I pretty much did that. And then we had like a kind of like a competitor class on Sundays, but that's pretty much it. But I wanted to do more. Just literally it's like I knew of Misfit, Comtrain, and Invictus, and pretty much I would do like 1 full day of Invictus and then probably like die within 2 weeks, just do like class for 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, let's jump into the next one. So I was very dumb, but I was also like 18.
And I thought, experience. You didn't know what to do, and you just picked what was fun.
Yeah.
Sherb and I were super lucky because when we were dumb enough to go from like .com to that, we were following Outlaw. So it was just like, this is 12 years ago. And you're looking at like 8 sets of 80 of like hip snatches.
Dude, my favorite thing about Outlaw, I actually had my time up the other day, and it was just like, it was a comment from another person, and I was just like, I remember feeling the exact same way. It's like, man, my lifting's getting better, but I suck at conditioning, because every Saturday was max out Saturday. Every single week you maxed out your snatch and your clean and jerk, and then you did stuff during the week, and then you did it again the following week. And I just remember being like, absolutely thrashed by just the amount of volume.
I loved it because he didn't believe in long Metcons.
That's
and he
also
also
nice.
loved letting me pull from the blocks where I needed no grip strength.
Perfect.
And
You
use some
do so
straps.
much like high skill short, like what you call like 1secondwad.coms. Like you'd go in there and you'd do like 385 deadlift for 4, 3, and 2, and then you do like 6, 4, and 8 like muscle ups or something silly. Like it was a really, really unique program.
Eat the zone diet, do like 4 blocks, look shredded,
I was backloading back then.
perform like an absolute bag of trash.
Didn't that guy just like reappear recently?
I am not sure. Every once in a
I've
while,
heard
sort of
about
as a troll, someone
Yeah.
will send like a video of him breaking down wall balls in like a motorcycle uniform. It's like, damn.
Dude, he's wearing a nice cut, bro. Leave him alone. Nice leather cut.
Hey, do what you got to do. So I think the reason why it's so exciting for us to have you on is because we talk a lot about people who are out there, they're listening and they want to know, I'm here right now, I'm just getting started, or I've plateaued, or I don't know exactly what to do, and I have this like really big long-term goal of going to the CrossFit Games. And seeing the progress that you've made from when you first started coming to training camps to seeing you out there in Madison on the floor is just like the epitome of what we are trying to convince people to do. It's funny, the question is like, what was that journey like for you? Obviously, there's like a lot of ups and downs, and it took place over a long period of time. But what do you think it was that allowed you to stay chipping away at becoming the athlete that you are now?
I mean, for me, I'm a pretty big optimist, so I knew that, making the CrossFit Games was going to take so much hard work, and literally just going into the gym, putting 100% of what I had that day, and at some point that like all of that work would pay off. So, I mean, even when it's like, okay, when I signed on to be a remote coach or be a remote athlete, I was like, hey, like I want to go team to the CrossFit Games. That was like my dream. And then like I started with Dex because obviously he went team like the year before, or like the same year I started. And it was literally just like, okay, like this day, chip away. Always had that like audacious goal to follow. And I don't know, I was never deterred. I knew that at some point I'd be where I need to be at the right place at the right time. So of course it was like in undergrad, we didn't have a team of 6 or a team of 4. So it's like, okay, and then I moved back home for a year, and we had competitors, but it was, that was like kind of the start of the like sanctional circuit. So it's like, cool. We finally got to go to a sanctional, make that next step. But so I think that was me being like, okay, like we have a chance. It's like, I can actually like go somewhere now. And that just lit a fire again. And going to Florida, I was around again, like a lot of regional caliber athletes, and then also a few games athletes. And once it went back to the affiliate cup, that's when I was like, okay, this could be our year. And from there, I was like, I never thought it would never come true. It was kind of like, okay, the games are going to happen, and I know I'm going to make it there. It just I have to be patient.
And it sounds very simple in the macro sense, right?
Yeah.
I just did it.
It took like 6 years, but
in the micro sense, is there any sort of attitude or mindset that you use from day to day that allows you to, I don't know, see your progress, or know that if you just keep, going, that something good is going to happen? Like what is it on, the really like minute details? How do you keep moving forward in that way?
I don't know. Like every day it's just, I go into the gym and I just like set daily goals. I'll see what workouts I have, and I'll just set an intention for each piece of the day. And I don't know, it's like either from there it's, okay, let's say today's workout, like I did class and it was the 10 rounds of 8 goblet squats with a 35 and then 16 alternating hang dumbbell snatches.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I want to go unbroken. I want to beat Caroline because I heard what her time was at 5:30.
Kind of early.
Yeah. It was a little early, but I was
set the tone. It's always a good target. I mean, one thing we talk about all the time is having people.
I was cleaning up my dog's
and,
puke on my bed at 5:30.
Sorry, to hear
Similar,
that.
right?
like similar, very similar, very
Every
similar.
morning at 5:30.
Higher.
It's at 200 now. So that's pretty much. So like taking that, it's like, okay, I'll always make a goal for each workout, and it just makes things exciting. And then like every day, I love coming into the gym. It is so much fun. I get to hang out with my best friends and just try to be better than I was yesterday, whether like even from a mental standpoint, whether just I gritted out more reps or held a faster split on a machine or anything like that. Or I blew up and learned like, okay, like maybe I shouldn't ski at like 1800 and then I can't do like some dumbbell front squats or anything like that. So I don't know. And that just makes it exciting. Everything's new and new every day. And I always just like make an intention to have fun, because once it's not fun and it feels like a job, like there's no point in doing it.
It's a tough perspective to have, but a lot of athletes get into the mindset of like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. And that becomes then like an identity thing. It's like, oh, I am this person, I have to do this. And when you have an opportunity to do something that doesn't go the way you want it to, it can cause a lot of, self-doubt and honestly, like a little bit of like a exercise depression that can occur. And, unfortunately we see athletes that happen to people, but if you can take yourself away from that and you realize that you aren't this accumulation of one single workout or one single round and, a 5-round workout, you can really set yourself up to continue to progress, because you're not focusing on the one bad day or the one bad workout or the one bad round. You're focusing on things, what else you can do in that day.
Right. And like, even, yeah. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, like, my, like, let's say it's just like my strength and to go, well, I have like 4 other pieces that day. Or even if I do feel burnout, it's like, okay, that's when I'll go take a class, or I'll tell Austin, I'm like, hey, like, I just feel beat up and sad all the time because I don't feel like I'm performing how I should. And then he's normally like, Hannah, like, just calm down, like, you're doing just fine. And that's when I don't know, I'll throw like a 5-minute pity party with him, and then he's like, hey, you're a good athlete, just keep it up. I'm like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, like, I have my fitness again, because just like someone just encouraged me. I think it also helps, I mean, since like having a team. So even like this year, if it wasn't for, I trained with the other girl on my team, Kim, so much, and it was so much fun. Just, I don't know, just having someone else to train with, and we both had the same goal of making the CrossFit Games. And whenever like she was down, I would pick her up, and then vice versa. If like I was down, she was like, we just riff off each other so well. And that's why I have like Xander and Austin, Diana, all my friends I made here too. It's kind of like, hey, we are all in this together, and it's just like so much fun, like, being around people. And that's also like why I've like stayed like so positive and on the right track.
Was there ever a point where you were like, I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't think I like, in your head you were just like, I don't know if we're gonna make it? Like, did you go through that? Like, you made it sound like you were like, oh, we're gonna do it, it's just gonna be a matter of when. But I feel like there has to be at some point a like kind of that questioning, that like self-doubt that like creeps in.
I would say, like, I mean, I don't know. It was more so, it's like in the open, I knew we were gonna make quarterfinals, and then in quarterfinals, I feel like my doubt comes like during the competition. Like, I know that it's like, okay, I had the weakest front squat. I was super slow on that snatch burpee box jump over workout. I was like, oh man, I'm holding the team back. This is so sad. We have this photographer from the CrossFit Games, like, here, he's probably like, what is this girl doing? She's like literally a minute slower than anyone else. And she's squats like 20 pounds less. Like, how did she get on the team? And that's like what's going through my head. But of course, that's not going through anyone else's head.
Right.
But from there, even though like I had those doubts, it never just shut me down. It was more so like those thoughts would come in, and I would be like, hey, this is irrational. You've worked so hard for this moment that now it's just the work, you put the work in, just go have fun and do what you can do. And then from there, it's like, okay, we made quarterfinals. At semifinals, there were some workouts. Actually, the last workout, we didn't bomb it, but it was our worst place of the weekend. And I just saw all the teams around us just like beat us. I was like, we just lost our spot to the CrossFit Games. I'm in tears. Aaron's like, calm down. There was mathematically no way we weren't going to make the CrossFit Games. I was like, because we have like Mayhem to our left, On Track to our right. They're like all ahead of us, even though all of us are getting no reps at the same time. It was like the worm deadlift workout where, I don't know, you have to do like 12 deadlifts in order to get like 6 good reps. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like we just got dead last in the heat. There's no way we made the CrossFit Games. We ate up like a 50-point deficit. Like someone like in 6th place just like knocked us out. But I guess like going back to that, it's like I had that self-doubt, but there was always, this year was so different for me because there was never a point that I thought we weren't going to make it. But like in the moment, there was like all those thoughts. But even just looking back, after, like at semifinals after the lift event, I was like, we're making the CrossFit Games. I don't know. I mean, it could have been because like we were in first place after that that event, but I was just so confident in how we worked and how we were as a team. And I knew for me, the lift was going to be my worst event. So I just had the most confidence in us to make it to the games. So even if training didn't go well or anything like that, it was kind of like, hey, like you guys got this, just do what you can do.
Can you point to any part of like your childhood growing up, like athletic experience, why you are as optimistic as you are? Is it a family member that instilled that in you? Is it something that got taught by a coach? Like, I'm just curious because I do think a lot of people tend to lean more towards the negative of things they can't do, things that aren't going to happen. Whereas the people that tend to believe in the positive or the glass half kind of full type of perspective typically seems like all the stars align for them. So I'm just curious, like how that was instilled in you, and like, and if you have, anything that you like to do outside of bouncing off ideas with other people that really helps you stay positive when it, things aren't going as well, when you are lifting, 20 pounds less than somebody else in a semifinal event.
Yeah. I definitely have had to work on it. Like, I don't know. I'm a perfectionist by nature. So with me, it's like, if I don't do the best in a workout or someone beats me, like I do like have those thoughts that come in being like, hey, you're not good. You're like, why are you doing this or whatnot? But, I think my mom's my best friend. I'll just say that. So
me too.
Yeah. She has helped me over the years.
Not your mom.
His mom's your best friend. Congrats, Drew. I didn't know that.
I'll tell my mom that.
Joke. Sorry to hear.
But she's like, she has helped me so much with my perfectionism and all of that. Like, even like I told her my grades for the semester in chiropractic school. I'm like, oh mom, like I'm sorry, this is my worst my worst semester thus far, and it's not even bad. Like I got like 4 B's and then all A's, and she was like, what are you talking?
What are those like, Drew?
Yeah. She was like, I don't
actually, yes.
It's like, Hannah, it's like, it was like this semester, it's like, look at the positives. You went to the CrossFit Games. You're in 13 classes. I don't even know how many, like why you took that many. I was like,
is that even possible?
Chiropractic school is so weird.
My whole college career.
God.
No, it's I literally legit would forget about classes until my friends were like, hey, do you want to study for that exam this weekend? I was like, what exam? And yeah, so, but going back, like she really helped me think more so just reframing situations, because she knew like how down I would get about myself, like in school, or like even if like in volleyball, if I just like messed up the play or anything like that, and she would see me just like in like almost in tears on the court, just like, I don't know, because I missed a serve or something, she'd be like, Hannah, just reframe the situation. Like, it's one thing where it's like you just have to brush it off in the moment. And I think just from that like reframing perspective, it's like, okay, like that serve didn't go well, but that doesn't mean that, all right, this next point, you'll just have to go. It's like you'll just have to put that much more effort into just digging the ball and making a play. Or in CrossFit now, like I said before, it's like, okay, my front squat was the lightest of everyone else's, but I knew later in quarterfinals that the wall ball row workout was going to be where I could make up some points for my team or anything like that. Or even at the games, there was a run, handstand walk workout into a 3-rep max back squat. And I fell on our last handstand walk 5 feet before the finish line. And we went from a top 10 finish to like to 15th. I let like 5 or 6 teams pass us. And in that moment, it was like, okay, like I was so defeated, but it was like, okay, so this quote unquote wheelhouse workout for us didn't end up being a wheelhouse, but all right, you have 100 more points to earn, in the next 5 minutes. So that's when it was like, all right, that's cool. Like it was like, I can brush it off, reframe, and be like, okay, a new 100 points. Let's just go smash this back squat. Let's go lift heavy. We're known for that. And then that was our best finish of the weekend. So my mom was like really good at just like giving those little things, or she'll just message me every day with like a inspirational quote, even though I'm like, I don't need that anymore, Mom.
Come on, Mom.
I was like, I don't need that anymore.
Tell her to send it to me.
Okay, I will.
It's an honor.
One of those.
No, I probably get
Positivity
like
quote.
I'll get like a reel or a video like every day from her, and I'll get like, I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom, like what are you talking about? But I think just like those like subconscious cues is what has helped me so much. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect every day. There are days where like I'm literally in the gym like crying. Like I know in like the games I was missing from Mac. It's like so at Mac I hit a 225 clean and jerk, and then since Mac I have not hit more than 205. So I was trying to hit literally a 210 squat clean at the gym probably 2 weeks before the CrossFit Games. I was in tears. Coaches were coming up and be like, can you stop? Because like you're like scaring the members. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I need to hit this. We're going to the CrossFit Games. I can't lift at all. So I'm not gonna say I'm perfect, but I think it's just that upbringing and just knowing that people are in my corner and are willing to help me out and all that.
All right, Miss, it's a quick break from the show to talk about our show sponsors. We are brought to you by sharpenthexco.com for the best gear in the game. You've heard us talk about it a lot. We have the code word Keala, Keala, to save 10% and to donate 10%. The Keala Foundation is an awesome group of people who try to make sure a realistic home life and community is surrounding these kids who are on the island of Kauai. They feed the kids, they help them with their homework, they make sure they get a good workout, and they get transported back home. So if you guys could, head to sharpenthexco.com, use the code word Keala, help them, help those kids have a better life and a better future. And if you cannot be in Hawaii for the trail run, you can do it virtually by heading to their website. Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Keala.com.
Search for the Keala Foundation on Google. You will be taken there.
Again, head to
it could be a .org slid in there, so I don't want to get it wrong.
Head to sharpenthexco.com. Use the Keala to save 10% and to donate 10% to those kids.
Did you just throw up?
So if you are anxious in high pressure situations like my friend Matthew over there, you can start using CBD to try and get into the right side of your nervous system there. So like? PureSpectrumCBD.com. Use the code word Misfit to save site-wide on anything. My personal go-to 2,500 milligram tincture. I take 2 milliliters of that bad boy at the end of the day after dealing with these two the whole day. And I forget they exist until the next 2 bottles. My bad.
I heard 2 liters too. I was like,
liters.
I was like, oh no. That like knocks you out.
Liters of Mountain Dew.
Like zen.
And that's why I feel so comfortable talking about this ad, purespectrumcbd.com. Use the code word Misfit.
And finally, we are, of course, brought to you by ourselves. You can head to misfitathletics.com, follow along the same program that CrossFit Games athlete Hannah Hardy follows that helped her get to Madison this year. Or you can head to teammisfit.com for your affiliate programming. We rambled about that for a solid 5 minutes or so. Some really spicy workouts. But coming up in the second week in September, September 13th, we are providing affiliate games weeks. So 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, you at your affiliates, we are programming the 2021 CrossFit Games with kind of, the logistical modifications and whatnot. But the workouts are challenging. Like,
they're not easy.
You got some athletes at your gym who can go hard in some of the affiliate programming. Like, it's going to be a good time. We're going to provide the affiliate RX intermediate and scaled versions, so it's a little bit less burdensome because there are some logistical requirements, like we said. But it's going to be a good time, and we are going to give it away for free. So be on the lookout for that. But you can head to teammisfit.com now to check out affiliate programming. And like Drew said, the SugarWOD, you said it in the future. Like Drew will say soon in the future.
You better listen to the post roll, whatever you call it.
SugarWOD Marketplace, 2 weeks for free. All right, back to the show.
Yeah, I had a football coach that used to say, like, you're only as good as your next play. So I think that's, applies perfectly to this. You're only as fit as your next workout. So, like, what's the point in sulking in the, the past? It's not going to do you any benefit. If you decided to pout out in the soccer field, well, it was time to find a 3 rep max back squat, like, how would the things gone?
Exactly.
It wouldn't have gone the way you wanted them to. So, like, as important as it is to reflect, and, we always talk about after you get done a workout, you should be thinking about how things went, what you could do better. That doesn't mean just to have like a pity party about all the things you did poorly. It's
exactly,
hey, I did good at this. I need to improve upon that. This could have gone differently this way. And taking those notes, moving them forward, or how you then, next time they come up, you go, all right, like, maybe I'll run a touch slower so I know I can do the handstand walk unbroken. Or, you know what, I've gotten a lot better at this. Let's see where I can run that same pace that used to cause me to fail, and now I'm able to do that successfully. So I think that's a really important, message to hammer home, is that, when you do have one bit of difficulty, it doesn't define the rest of your CrossFit Games, or your weekend, or even your gym experience. Just one thing. Right.
And as I've learned it from you guys, like hearing just like all of those talks at camps and everything like that, it just like brings a whole different perspective, because you guys also walk the walk. So it's been awesome to like just look up to you guys. And I mean, I don't know, like that's like helped me so much as well. It's just like having the mindset or the Misfit musings and reading those every week and bringing those thoughts into training.
You actually, that's like a clear designation though. There are so many people who rely too much on motivation and feel like they need, maybe that text message every morning. You seem to take those things and internalize them and actually put them back out into the world. Like for me, as someone who struggles with being a present-minded person, it's easier for me to see when someone is, and you're definitely one of those people that seems to like go into the moment and do what you're trying to do, and you're not focused on what you did before or what's coming next. And we always throw around the analogy of like what's your mountain? Like, what are you trying to climb? And the athlete that, might have the same physical abilities as you sees all 500 training pieces laid out in front of them to get to the top of the mountain. And you not only break it down into like I would be super happy if I could get all of my athletes to break it down. And today is the only thing that matters. There is nothing else. And then you take it even a step further and you say, this next piece is it.
Right.
Like this is that thing. And an athlete's ability to stay present-minded, which obviously is challenging when you see what other people are up to, where they're at in their journey, how someone's progressing. They had a great day, the day that you had a bad day, and you can tell. So there's a lot of things there. And I think it's really important for people to know that when we put this information out there, rather than only sharing it or only, being a parrot for that sort of advice, like you put it into practice and you got to go to the CrossFit Games, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. And like, even so, like, I don't know. I mean, right now, like at my gym, in the world, there's like so many fit people. Like I go and I'll just like watch a class I coach. And I'm like, how did that person just like go so fast? I can't do that. Like, I'll be like anxious, like the entire, like any class I coach. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do this in like 3 hours. I can't go that fast. Like what the heck is going on? But from there, it's just like, yeah, okay. I know what I can do. I will just, I don't know, just like bringing it back is I'll take what mental things I've learned and just apply them. And from there, it's, I don't know, I don't want to say it's like just like easy and then I could just like perform, but
maybe it is easy once you make that decision. I think the decision for people to put things into practice is the hard part. So you're a natural at that. So it's hard to explain how it's so powerful when it feels easy for you, but it's like, oh, I got good advice, I'm going to use it. As opposed to like, I'm going to put it in my journal. The next time I want to sound super smart, I'm going to whip this bad boy out.
Yeah, like have a good Instagram caption or something
exactly.
like that.
I also heard a little bit of like, you know, you're watching someone else and you're like, how the hell did so-and-so go 3 minutes like faster than I thought I was going to go? But the first thing I saw you do is start to pick your fingers out and start to count them. And I say, all right, I'm going to roll a little faster. I know I can transition a little harder. I'm going to do bigger sets. Like those type of things are how you take that big, scary, like, holy fuck, how am I going to beat this person in this workout? And go, all right, what is the actual steps? Like wishing I'm going to beat them is not going to do anything for me. But if I think about, all right, if I do this pace, I transition this way, I approach the barbell this way, all of a sudden you've now set out a blueprint for how you then can beat somebody. And because they've shown you it's possible, you're like, all right, well, fuck it, I can do that too.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big part of what an athlete needs. You know, we always talk about like, you know, watch your ego, watch your ego. Well, having a little bit of ego when it comes time to like be competitive does help you in regard. You just have to let it know that you can't poison everything that you do. You know, if you're only concerned with like, I got to beat everybody, that's when, you know, other things can happen that are less than desirable for training. But having that desire to want to beat somebody, you know, is a little part of your ego that actually is a good thing when it comes to being competitive.
Yeah. And it's just like going back to that is, even if I don't have like the physical traits that like some athletes have or anything like that, I think just having those little mental cues and just like laying stuff out or being a little bit grittier when it comes to workouts, or even just optimistic of being like, hey, like just pick up the barbell 1 second faster. Like you don't need the rest or anything like that. I think I pride myself on my mental game more so than my physical traits. And I think that has gotten me a lot farther, because it's like you can have all the physical skills in the world, but if it's between you and someone else and like, let's say like 10 clean and jerks at 155, 105, and you are, it's like at the end of a 30-minute workout, if the person beside you goes touch and go, are you also going to go touch and go all 10 and then sprint across the line? Those are like the little things where if you just like, if you stay mentally present in a workout, you're probably going to win more so than the person that's more gifted physically.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hierarchy, right? Like if you have amazing physical gifts and you don't allow yourself to go there, and then we talk about the ego a lot. Sherb does his talk at some of the training camps, and sometimes there's a connotation that the ego is a bad thing. A bad ego is a bad thing, right? Yeah. So a lot of really gifted people do the whole like the Jose Canseco, like, I don't have to do what you have to do. I'm already good. And CrossFit is this amazing equalizer of, if you don't have both sides of those things, you don't stand a chance. It doesn't matter. Like, we've worked with athletes who still to this day, potentially more gifted than anyone we've seen win the CrossFit Games. And that tells you right there all you need to know about what gifts can do to someone. It's like, well, I mean, I do pretty well on nothing. Like that doesn't, and that really fucks with people because they think they're this, and in this sport specifically, they're not. They're, much lower down the totem pole. So I think, like, you do have physical gifts. You would not be able to go out there and execute the way that you do, but because you slid the attitude and the effort underneath those things and use them as a vehicle to create your physical gifts, you have it in the right order. Like, all that stuff is important, but there's a hierarchy to it. And if you're just one of those people that's like, oh, I can clean and jerk this and I can, do that, like, it doesn't matter that much in the sport, which is like why the sport is the greatest metaphor for basically anything and everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, yeah, like you definitely need the physical traits in this sport, but I mean, I love just being just like a gritty athlete, and that's what I want to be known as, like in the sport. I want to be someone that's just gonna be cutthroat and just do work. And yeah, I might not have like the greatest lifts, the most like technical gymnastics or anything like that, but I'm going to just go die on that. Like I'm going to literally give 100% and be dying on the floor. And if you're not willing to go that hard, then, or if you're not willing to also go that hard, I don't think you're going to progress how you want to. But like in the end, in order to beat me, you're also going to have to like literally murder yourself.
One of the things I used to say at the like ego talk at camps is like your priorities and your goals have to match up. And if you're not willing to put yourself in that position to get to where you want to be, you can't be upset when it doesn't happen. And I think a great little microcosm for that is the workout we all did together on Friday last week, the terrible burpee box jump over thruster workout. And you got done round one, you said to me, like, I didn't know you were going to go that fast. And then the next round you beat me by like 15 seconds. So like, you could see that like that gear in your mind going, all right, like,
so it was your fault she got done the thrusters before I got done my burpee box jumps.
Okay. I guess it's my fault. But at the same time, it's like you made a decision. You said, all right, like I thought I was going pretty hard. I saw what was happening, decided I wasn't going as hard as I should be. And then, I mean, I don't know if you remember your split times, but I'm pretty sure they dropped it by about 10 or 12 seconds from round one to round two.
They did, because I got 10 seconds faster and
slower.
Yes, literally. I got 10 seconds faster. And before I picked up my dumbbells, I heard her bar hit the ground. And I was like, what the fuck? How slow am I going? And I got done and my round was 10 seconds faster than my first one. I was like, something's up.
Yeah. I definitely see that about you, in particular, just, after we talked about that and we were kind of explaining it, you were sitting beside me and we were watching the I think it was the 5 p.m. class and just talking about like how it was supposed to go. And you're like, I'm upset I didn't do the first round. Like, great. And I was like, that's all right. You made up for it the next 3 rounds. And like, I think that's important for an athlete to accept the fact that when they go into a workout and they don't see it go the way they wanted to, or they thought they went as hard as they could, and then they look left and right and go, all right, I mean, I'm going a little gentler than I should have.
Just change it.
To change it right on the fly. I think too many people get so fixed in their ways. Like, I can only burpee box jump this fast or do it this way, or I can only transition this fast or this hard. Like, I think that's a decision a lot of athletes have to realize they have the power to make. They have to make that decision. That's the hard part. Like, telling yourself to do it is one thing. It's actually doing it is what matters.
Yeah.
If we could stop talking about burpee box jump overs, that'd be great.
I don't know.
You guys have dosed me with well over 100 in the last 4 days, 5 days, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
My burpee box jump overs yesterday were much slower than Friday's.
Yes, same.
Did you do the 10 round thing yesterday?
Yeah.
How about rounds 4 and 5?
How about
1 and 2?
It was 2 and 4. It was when the burpee box jump overs were last. Yeah. I had to step down step off of the box. I normally just jump. I'm like, I can't. I was like, Hannah, please just try the jump. Like,
I have so few slow twitch muscle fibers that stepping down is harder for me. I prefer to jump down. When I step down, I'm like, God, my leg hurts.
Well,
I jump down, I feel literally.
We had Hunter and Kate beside us. I'm like, man, I'm like blowing our lead. And then Xander broke up the muscle ups. I'm like, Xander, you're blowing our lead more.
I saw Xander.
I know.
As soon as
the
round started, he was a couple reps ahead. He got to the bar and he was like 3 or 4 reps ahead, and I was finishing my burpee box jump overs, and I had saw him like break up his muscle ups on the last round. I was just like, come here, you.
Yeah, no, you just see just see Hunter like go to the rig, and then Xander go to the chalk. I'm like, you don't need chalk for 6 muscle ups. Please just do your last
3 times. What are you guys talking about?
I had
yelled at you too. I was like, you don't need chalk, and you kind of like grabbed a chalk and like wiped it on your hands and threw it real quick. Like if I didn't see
I don't want to end up like Brady falling from the top rope. I was some sketchy reps towards the end of that workout yesterday, but I do think that's kind of the fun part of the atmosphere that's created in a training environment that can be the affiliate class or even there. It's just like the willingness to sort of bully each other other into things that you didn't think were possible. But at the end of the day, you maybe not have done that if you hadn't been told, or you weren't like telling Xander, hey, get over there and get your husband up on that pull-up bar. No time for chalk.
Well, I'm thinking that, but like I'm a nicer person than what's going on in my mind. So I'm like, yeah, go Xander. And I'm like, you freaking blew it. Like, come on.
Xander. If you hear,
like,
Xander, she's thinking something else.
Xander got creamed.
Misfit.com for your affiliate program.
No, but it's okay. Like on Monday, like I got creamed by Xander and Austin. So, and Austin's just like there, like trying to be like a nice coach. And I'm like, I don't need any of your coaching right now. Like, just let me die.
Get away from me.
I'm like, just let me die on my own.
Last night, Austin came in like a couple minutes late to the last class of the night, and Courtney was the only one without a partner.
Oh, she got about a minute 20 rest.
I was like,
lovely.
They were getting close to the workout, and I was like, listen, I'm about to call an audible here. And I partnered Austin up with James, and James was like, fuck. Like, he knew it was coming. Courtney was like, thank you.
So one of the things that just came up was the power of that environment and the training partners. And I think a lot of people out there who don't have that. And it made me think immediately of what can happen when an athlete goes from the individual realm to the team realm. And there's pros and cons to the new style of team, the affiliate versus the super teams. One of the pros is what an athlete can find out about themselves when they put themselves into that environment. So a ton of people listening right now have an opportunity that they've never had before going into this season, and that is to team up with people and make a true, real run at whatever your Super Bowl is, the quarterfinals, semifinals, or the CrossFit Games. And I just want you to talk a little bit about that feeling, what it's like when you're working hard on something and you have that extra gear because you are in a team setting.
I mean, with me, I've always been more driven when I'm on a team, whether it's like literally in a partner workout or at a competition. So being in a team environment, it's so cool because I don't know, people are relying on you to do well. And I think just like that little added pressure just makes you go so much faster or do a little bit more than you thought.
And it doesn't hurt as bad, and you're going faster. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like I know, like it's like insane where like I'll be holding splits and I'm like, I've never seen that before. Like on the C2 bike, I hope I don't blow up and do this 30-minute workout. Like it's like, oh man, 3 minutes in, and then you're fine. And it's like, and it's just like it's insane. Or like I said, like if it, like I don't think I would have like lifted as much at Mac if it weren't for my teammate being right there, being like, "Hey, you got this. Just go." Because I like literally failed like 2 of 5 in the back. I'm like, I can't do that. She's like, "Oh, that looked easy." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it was like really cool, and yeah, it's like, and it's like they don't want you to do bad because I mean, of course, because like obviously like you're a part of the reason like you get like through quarterfinals to semifinals if you're on that cut line, or semifinals to the games. So, and just it's that training environment it's so cool too, because all my teammates are like all my teammates are stronger than me. Or even before West Chase, like I was with Justin Riddle back in Richmond, Virginia, and he's like he's the strongest guy I know. And
I think he's the strongest man alive.
Yeah, he is. He might be the strongest man alive. It's fucking crazy.
And literally, like during COVID, we'd train in his garage together, and I remember it was like we're doing like touch and go snatches, and I'm like, oh, okay, like this is what I did. Like I'm pretty sure you could do that like 225 for 10, and he's like, no, I can't. I'm like, dude, just go do it. And like
what? Deadlift?
Yeah, and then you're like, I'm just like, okay. I was like, okay, well, I did like 125 for 10, and I was like, and just like seeing him being like, this is so easy, and I was like, okay, whatever. But just like being around like people that are better at something than you just makes you just like astronomically better. Or
there's also a lot of value in surrounding yourself around people who believe in you.
Right.
Like, that's another thing that you have. I mean, you sort of said without saying is that like you're in an environment where you're literally hanging out with some of your friends and they want what's best for you. And if you're in a situation where people are rooting for you instead of being like, fall down, fall down, fall down. Like you're probably going to do better.
You suck.
Right? I mean, how different is it when you're in your own head thinking about, could I do 125 touch and go for 10 versus when someone who's there right there with you saying, I bet you could do that. And then you do.
Right. And it's like, that's just like, it's so nice just being around people that I give everyone benefit of the doubt. I think people like want the best for others, hopefully. Like sometimes like there's like whenever I'm going against like Justin, like I'm like, oh man, like please, please fall on your hands and walk. I'm like, please fail.
I just keep picturing the kid in the kindergarten class because he tripped him in Big Daddy. Like, he brought in his rollerblades for show and tell, and he tripped him with a stick.
But I would say like even if you're in like an individual setting, like I'm in a bunch of like group chats, so like, I get different scores and different strategies and stuff like that, and that people I've met just like at camps over time or just randomly messaged on Instagram for things. Like I think that's beneficial as well if you're just kind of like off in your lonely island. Like I was pretty much alone my first year of remote coaching, and then like before I started that. But it was nice having like the comments on the blog and just like seeing what everyone else wrote. And then being with Dex, all of the athletes were in one group chat. So I got scores from all of them. And it was it was nice to just like, I felt like I was in a group training session, like in a group training, even though I was alone in the gym. Like I was like, okay, like I know that Brandon's going to go unbroken here, but like he's going to slow down on burpees, but I can pick up there. And we all wanted everyone to do well because like, I mean, I feel like that's like the best time is like, if you want, it's like, you're going to be better if you're the people that you surround yourself with are also trying to get better.
Very true.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. When we had that environment years ago, we had a regionals team. There were a bunch of people on that team that prior to us, punching that ticket, knowing that we were going, were, average affiliate members, maybe a little bit in between, like they saw affiliate class, but would jump into something extra afterwards. And, the monumental leaps they all took because they were in an environment where they were pushing each other every single day and wanting the best for each other. And then, like you said, if so-and-so does it, you're like, well, fuck, maybe I could do that too. And then all of a sudden it becomes the standard for your group. And then the next thing comes up and that's the new standard. So, I think there's a lot to the power of that community. But what I think is more important is the fact that you just alluded to the few, like 4 or 5 different ways that you've created a community that helps push you. You've got your text message group. You've got people on the blog that you've met in the comic session. You got Instagram followers that you talk with. Like all of those ways are ideas and opportunities to create community, which will not only motivate you, but motivate them. So it's almost like paying it forward. Every time that you put out a score or say, this is how I did it, this is how you should try it, then you get one of those back, you both elevate each other without actually having to be in the same physical space.
Yeah. And like, that's what makes, that's why I've been with Misfit for the past 4 years, is because literally anyone that follows the blog or Hatchet or anything is like family to me. And I love talking to them. I love getting scores. I love just shooting the shit on like whatever we want to talk about. I've met my best friends through Misfit, and whenever I see a shirt at a local comp, I can go up to them and just start talking. It's like we're best friends from kindergarten or something like that.
It's so great to have that icebreaker with the shirts. Because that was like one of our like first things. Like we need shirts. We need to be cool and have shirts that say our name on them. And like, it's the ultimate icebreaker. Yeah. Because we had talked a little bit with Xander. One of Xander's things that he's good at is like, no matter what, like, hey, I'm Xander, what's up? Like boom, he's going right into that. And we just talked a little bit about like, it's not as easy for most people to do that. So it's great going. Obviously, like in a more macro sense, if you're at an airport and someone's wearing a CrossFit shirt, it's sort of the same thing. Right. But you go to this place where you would assume it's just filled with egos and it's this whole thing, and then you see a Misfit shirt, you're like, hey, nice shirt. And
yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, like Justin Raudenbach, we're wearing the same shirt, and I knew him just because he was really big in the competition scene in Virginia, and I was like, why am I wearing this shirt today? Because I look up to him so much. Or because it's like, because of Misfit, it's like I went to a camp, and then just so happened that a master's athlete from West Chase was at the same camp. So I was like, okay, like I have an in, like I can get to West Chase and then be an alternate on their team, and then end up being on the team. Yeah. So just like the power, or just like literally like anywhere in the world, like I feel like I can, like I'll find a fellow Misfit, which is super cool. Like Gusty in Sweden, like he was just like, Hannah, I still want to do a partner comp with you. And I'm like, that'd be awesome. You're doing all the machines.
You're tough. You're tougher than him.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. I am in a group chat with him, and he is not.
Hunter's just smiling.
Yeah. No, like Gusty's insane. I'll just be like, he'll just like, all of a sudden we have a chat on Facebook with a bunch of different athletes, and he'll like put up a score, and we're like, okay, so all of us were like 10 minutes slower than you on that C2 bike piece today.
All the humans.
Yeah. What is for retest week, putting the challenge out there? We didn't get a better score.
I don't think.
What was his time?
He was in the 24s, I think, right?
In the 24s. We're gonna find out the exact.
I'll find him
and put that challenge out there.
Beat Gustav.
Oh my gosh.
Final question.
Good luck.
Yes.
Did you have a moment where it hit you at the games that you were there and had made all that progress? And if so, how did it feel?
Literally when it hit, when we're getting our gear, so with like the whole like noble locker room vibe, it was like we walked
Pretty
in.
Sweet little setup, huh?
Oh my gosh, it was just insane. So just like walking in, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're here. At least like Kim and I were freaking out, and then Aaron's just like, been there, done that. I don't know. He was probably happy on the inside. Don't get me wrong, but
like you guys are professional athletes, and this was the first time that you were treated that way,
right?
And like that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's just like that. It's like, oh, we're here, we're doing it, and or just like at the start line right before the swim kayak. It was just it was so much fun, because it's like I looked around and I'm around so many other fit women, and just taking that all in and hearing just like, okay, 2 minutes, and being like, okay, like I'm about to do a swim event at the CrossFit Games. First of all, this is what I've been hoping for, because this is my, like the only thing my background helps with is this event right here. And from there, it was just so cool just to look at everything around me and be like, the last 6.5 years brought me to this moment. And then it was just from that moment that was like, I'm here, and we deserve to be here. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. All right, boys, what did we learn from Hannah?
Man, I think there's a lot to be said about reaching out and finding community in one way or another. And I think that you've really hit that nail on the head, how you found other Misfits, how you found other community to make sure that you have the people that you want around you, regardless if they can actually be in the same physical space as you. So like, the comment section is something we're always trying to hype up, trying to get more people to post there consistently. But being willing to reach out to somebody else that you've seen wears the same shirt as you or post the same workout as you and say, hey, how'd you do on this, that, or the other, is a really nice way to tie in other people. And you never know who you may inspire or who may help inspire you to be better because you've found this person randomly on a social media channel or on a blog post. So like, to me, it's about putting yourself out there, being willing to find a community and using that community to help you reach your goals, which to me sounds like was one of the bigger factors in how you've stuck with us and how you've turned yourself from, I'm going to jump around to every single program I can, take class here and there, and then not know what I'm doing, to sticking with something consistently and having that be something that gives you effectively a roadmap to your goals. So to me, it's about putting yourself out there so you can find that community.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing you talked about is intentionally or not, you kind of alluded to the multiple layers and almost like strata of how you went from point A to point B, which was like on a small level every day. There's an intention set with every training piece that you have, and then when you extrapolate that out to a longer time frame, it's okay, I am going to the CrossFit Games. It's just a matter of when. Like I'm gonna put the hard work in. So we've got the micro, we've got the daily little individual thing among others, like the reading and the actually taking some of the things that people say and thoughtfully applying them, but then having those little things, and then with the overarching micro or macro goal of I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games, I'm going to keep doing the things that I'm doing here to get there, and it worked. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Before I do mine, I just think it's important to highlight the fact that you essentially have proved that you have like a PhD in Misfit. You're checking off box after box after box throughout this conversation of what we teach. And, you know, it's great to have, you know, the three of us, the Goon Squad, and then the other people out there that help spread the message. But there's something much more powerful about you having specific examples of putting it into action and taking yourself from someone who started CrossFit not really that long ago to being at the CrossFit Games. And then for me, biggest takeaway is just I've essentially made a career off giving people advice, and to hear someone talk about how they put that into practice is a reminder that I definitely need. So if I'm gonna write the musings and I'm going to think about what our themes are for training phases or whatever it is, you know, the writing's not even on the wall. It's like already in my brain. So it's another nod to like really use the things that we're putting out there.
No, I appreciate it, guys. And like I said, you guys walk the walk. So it's really easy for me to do the same when I see you guys day in and day out, like also like follow these values and just try to make all of us like the best we can be, not only as athletes, but as people. And like that's the coolest part. And I think that's why like our community is so amazing, is because we're not just great athletes, we're also great people that like we just send happy vibes into the world and want everybody to grow as humans.
I love it. All right, ladies and gents, thank you for tuning into another episode of the Misfit Podcast, and thank you to our show sponsors. If you want the best CBD in the game, you can head to purespectrumcbd.com and use the code word Misfit. Best gear in the game, sharpentheaxeco.com. Use the code word Keala, Keala. You will save 10% on your order, and we will send that same amount to the Keala Foundation. Coming up soon, those Hannah Hardy Shark shirts will be back in the store, the stuff that was left over. So donate some money to the Keala Foundation and get a great shirt. And as always, we are brought to you by ourselves, misfitathletics.com or the SugarWOD marketplace. You can try 2 weeks for free for your individual programming needs, and then teammisfit.com and the SugarWOD marketplace as well for your affiliate programming needs. As always, I'm at Misfit Coach on Instagram. Slide into those DMs. Let us know what you want to hear next or who you would like us to have on. We'll see you next week.